Hey Luis, this is looking awesome. It's coming along. I feel like a lot of the jumps and stuff are like really great. There's like some spacing stuff that I'm seeing, and it's probably just that you haven't gotten to it yet. So please forgive me if I call them out and you already know. Um, that's fine. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. On this angle, I don't notice it so much from your camera angle, but on this angle, that foot is feeling like a little broken. So just take a look at that area right there to like clean up that pose a little bit. But I'll take a look at it from this angle first and only jump to the other one if I need to figure out what's going on with a particular thing. So yeah, the spacing stuff I'm seeing is not a lot. This red foot in this thing is catching my eye with its spacing. So I'm gonna go to green. I feel like this is a green moment. Okay, so it comes over screen left, and then it kind of moves over screen right, all like, and then plants, and then goes a little left before it plants again. So hopefully that shows what I'm talking about. I feel like maybe the solve for this, and I don't necessarily know what the solve is, but we have this nice jump here, right? Maybe we keep that foot going out to the side a little bit, like continuing that lateral motion, and maybe we keep it up here a little bit, so that we're like, yeah, I don't know if this is the right poses. I'm not necessarily like gifted at this stuff. But if this is where we're landing, you know, I feel like maybe you can handle a swoop up and a land, but right now it kind of feels like it goes left, right, and then maybe left again. And that's what's catching my eye with that foot, that little spacing moment. Yeah, cool. And then here on the last jump, there's some feet spacing stuff. I feel like the land feels great. Like this is fine. Maybe you want just a tiny bit of cushion out of the heels in this pose going down into this pose, you know, just to catch the weight a little bit. But I think we need like a little anticipation or ease in on this jump here, because the feet move a lot, like really, they move far. So maybe we need, you know, this is also a good opportunity. I would use the heel raise as kind of like a little indication of like shock absorber, you know, on moves like this, to have the heel rotate down and kind of show that it's like it's catching this weight from this. Like here it's cool that it's up because the weight feels like it's jumping up here, right? Like it's going up and spinning, but then when it comes down, have that heel cushion it a little bit. And then if you have to do this jump like this, that's fine, but maybe you can anticipate into it. Like if the heel is down lower, maybe the heel's low here, maybe I drew it on the wrong frame, because it would be nice. I feel like you just need a couple more frames. You could actually raise up the heel in anticipation of this jump here, and that it might feel like it's earned a little bit more, or, you know, maybe this frame we're starting to see a little bit of the push up on the center of gravity. I feel like you need one more frame, or, you know, maybe this is another way to say it. You need another frame between here and here that's like kind of more biased towards this pose, you know what I mean? So like tween machine or whatever you want to do. Maybe this one's like, you know, it's easing into this motion. That's all I'm trying to say. You know, I'm overcomplicating it. Yeah, and just look for areas like here, like this arm goes straight like super quickly, and then here it stays straight and then goes into a thing. Like maybe this is an opportunity to loosen this up a little bit by starting the elbow bend as the character goes down. You know, the hand is like a little bit of a drag idea, and then you have less far to go to get into that pose. Little nitpicky stuff. There's a little bit of foot sliding happening here, it feels like, with this blue foot. I think it's fine for the red foot to be kind of sliding at that point, but that blue foot should probably be planted. And then you probably need a little bit more of a in-between between this pose and this pose. That's pretty extreme. Especially because this and this one feel a little bit samey. So like you can keep this pose, that's fine. But you just kind of need like a little bit more of an in-between. And maybe you know that too. Maybe that's just something you haven't gotten to. But yeah, this would be nice to show like the heel is lifting up off the ground like you have it. But it's just like pivoting on the ball of the foot there as it gets up into this. And maybe this one is even like the toes pointed kind of more like where it came from, you know, into this. And I know you're probably bending this up to clear the ledge or the box, which is fine, but maybe you can afford to like start easing into it or somehow make it a little more gradual. Like this is a pretty big jump to go from here to here, but that's super nitpicky, so don't worry, you know, like the other stuff I feel like is more important. This is like a little awkward here, again nitpicky, but it gets a little awkward here taking this foot and turning it into this plant. Like some of that in-between stuff I feel like could be simplified, because let's see where it's actually traveling. Yeah, well the camera's moving, so it's, of course it's not always going to be like perfect or whatever, but this plant here, I feel like the ankle's feeling a little broken, so I would definitely like roll the foot up a little bit more to like, this angle on the ankle isn't one that I think we humans can do without putting like a ton of strain on our like, whatever that tendon is or whatever, you know, the stuff that rolls into the back of our ankle, that tendon. Is that a hamstring? I don't know, maybe it's a hamstring. Anyways, so maybe rolling that heel up will help kind of like ease that tension. And then that might also be a good indicator of like jumping. Yeah, so just watch, like if I track your spacing on your ankle here, you know, maybe it kicks out a little bit here. So we have on the horizontal spacing, I feel like a broken record, but on the horizontal spacing, it's, you know, we're easing out, and then as we return, we're like gaining ground. So just, you know, keep an eye on, especially in these dance moves. And this might actually be a cool, I mean, I like how this is bent here, you know what I mean? And I'm sure that that's what was happening in the reference, that he doesn't straighten that leg, he keeps it a little bit relaxed. It's just a tiny little massage on the spacing, I think. Maybe this one doesn't go out as far or something. You know, and maybe this spacing is being controlled by like rotating the thigh a little bit in or something. I don't know. But it does feel like there's like a little bit of a wall when I watch it. But again, super nitpicky. Maybe you disagree and want to ignore it, and that's fine too. Yeah, so like this jump on the purple foot, blue foot, probably needs just a little bit of an in-between to get there, because it feels like it kind of freezes and hangs out. And these two poses are very samey, and then it just like sticks down to the ground. Probably something you also already know, but here maybe I would rotate the foot a bit, so it's a little more like rotate it. How do I describe how to rotate it? In this, so not this way, not this way, but this way. Does that make sense? That might be nonsense. Anyways, getting the sole of the foot to kind of be pointed a little bit more at like this box shape here. is what I'm trying to say in a very clumsy way. Maybe just on that passing. But I don't know. This looks cool. It's all fine. But the spacing. So it's just kind of like doing a pass. Because again, going from here to here, I know you have a lot of quick movements, right? To get through because it's dancing. This is nice how you feel the beginning of this move, right? That's great. And then, but maybe this one can be biased a little bit more back. And then this one can be biased a little bit more towards the previous one. And then space this in between one wherever you need to make it work. Yeah. I don't know if the foot needs to reach the destination here. I'd probably have to look at the other views to see if it needs to get there this early. But if it doesn't, then maybe you can use some of those frames to help the spacing on the transition around the blue leg, right? Because essentially it's picking up the red leg and swinging it around to plant it in front. So all these poses look great, but I feel like the spacing kind of dictates that they need to be adjusted a little bit one way or the other. What, like here too, I'm not sure what the reference was doing, but your heel swings out and then it swings back in. You know, so maybe there's a way to just simplify that a little bit. If this is where it wants to be, then maybe the heel doesn't need to swing so far out in that moment. But it's really nice, like on these little moments, I really feel like the cushioning of the weight and how the character's catching themselves, which is not the easiest thing to capture in your animation. You're doing a really nice job of that. Yeah, and there's probably just a little, I'm seeing like a little bobble in this foot move, which is probably just, again, going through the spacing with a fine-tooth comb. Because it seems to kind of go left and then right a little bit. So maybe that can be simplified a tiny bit. Yeah, cool stuff. And then the arms, which I've been a little bit neglectful of in my critiques and stuff. Like, this is a little weird how the elbow seems to kind of go straight here. Like, I'm feeling the IK-ness of the arm right here, because it feels like the hand is kind of isolated in space. I'm assuming it's IK arm, not FK, but even if it is FK, like the note stands where it feels like the right through here. That hand and wrist is a little frozen. I would watch the spacing on, like, that's a pretty huge jump. And maybe you can, like, grab some of the spacing from here where it starts to get a little closer. And that'll kind of make the arm, maybe it'll make the arm feel like it's dragging a little bit. You know, behind, which maybe is an okay thing to do. But just to earn that, like, the start into that motion. Yeah, cool. Really cool. Really nice stuff. Really nice progress from last week. I feel like you're on the cusp of having a nice polished piece here. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. I look forward to your submission next week for, you know, the last submission. I'll give you a round of notes and take them or leave them. But yeah, I think that this is really cool. So I would encourage you to keep moving forward with it. If you have the time or the patience, sometimes maybe you just need to, like, move on to the next thing and say, okay, I've learned what I wanted to learn from this piece, and I don't really need it to be, like, you know, I'm not really thinking about a reel or portfolio yet. You can come back to it whenever you want. But yeah, try to hit these notes for next week. Just watch I would just do a general spacing pass on like feet. We'll start with the cog, as always. Check out the spacing there. But there's nothing about the cog that's like grabbing my eye anymore. It feels pretty solid, except for maybe this jump up here feels a little sudden where it goes one frame up and then it's on its way down already. Like that probably needs to have like a little more of a cushion or transition. But outside of that, the cog feels great. So then it's just about watching the spacing on your feet, you know, and then after that, it's just really about doing a pass on the hands and the arms. But like your hands and arms, by and large, are feeling really nice. Like there's a little something here when the umbrella goes down. There's like that little bobble to the right and back to the left and then back up. So, you know, just some simplification. And then here, you know, like that's kind of a big jump from there to there. Maybe like the hand can show a little bit of drag, you know, where it's not instantly reacting with, because here your cog's moving. Maybe it kind of just pops over one frame before the cut. So I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure if that's necessary or if you just want to like ease into that a little bit more. There is a concept like motivating cuts, like when should you cut the camera, you know, and when should you just let a shot live and play out. And they generally say you should cut on the action. So I'm not telling you to retime this cut, but yeah, there's not like a lot of action here to motivate the cut, and maybe that was just like Jackie Chan's choice, which is fine. I don't want to second guess the director choices of Jackie Chan, but it is weird that it moves like one frame and then it cuts. You know what I mean? So maybe you want to start this move just a couple frames earlier out of the cog, and that might help motivate the cut, and then we're continued into the cut. But I don't know. Those are like a little bit more big picture things, and it's I don't think it's gonna really affect the quality of this one way or the other. I think it's working as is. Just thoughts I wanted to share. Anyways, great stuff, great work. I look forward to seeing it next week, and yeah, cool.